Expectations, expectations, expectations. They're in every part of our life, believe it or not. And they can cause a lot of problems if you don't learn how to manage them properly. And I know I've talked about expectations before, but something came up at work, and now I can't remember what it was. And it made me think about expectations, um, and more of how it is in your entire life. Because I think mostly I've talked about it before when it comes to, relationships with your partner or friends. But it was something at work that made me think about. Um, of course, your manager has expectations of what you should do at work, maybe how you should do it, like more of a micromanaging type of situation. But I thought we'd do a little more deeper dive on expectations and how it can intrude on your life and make you more stressed out and anxious and possibly depressed. Um, Sometimes we have to learn to manage our expectations, and I believe it starts with like, where did you come up with these expectations? I believe a lot of it is social, I guess, engineering, you could call it. Social conditioning is where we get most of our expectations from our families, like generational type things, like this is how my mom cleaned the bathroom, so this is how I clean the bathroom type thing. And then when you know, have a family, you have this expectation that everybody cleans the bathroom the same as you, and that's just not true. Um, I mean, it could be, but everybody has a different idea of how clean the bathroom is. I mean, you might have harder expectations, I guess you could say, or stringent expectations for things of that nature. But let's define expectations first before we jump into more stuff. Expectations are beliefs or assumptions about how things should or will happen in the future. Um, it includes both what you hope for and maybe what is feared. They can be specific events, relationships, um, or even with your future. Expectations can be realistic or unrealistic. They can significantly influence our emotions, behaviors, and interactions with others. Now, there's different types. I have some notes here. Anticipation. Expectations are often associated with anticipation, the act of looking forward to something. Then there's beliefs about the future. There are personal beliefs, thoughts, or feelings about what is likely to occur. Expectations can be about anything in any aspect of your life, including maybe personal goals you have for yourself, social interactions, or even statistical probabilities. That's an interesting one. I'm sure most people don't even think about that. Sources of expectations, like personal experiences, um, you probably develop them from past experiences. Cultural factors, cultural beliefs and values can also play a role in shaping our expectations. Then there's the old self-perception, how we view ourselves, our abilities, our worth. Obviously, how you think about yourself influences the expectations you have on how you perform in your own life. But there's also the perception, and it's not really mentioned here, and I guess it kind of is on social influences. Perception about other things, not just yourself, and how you move through life. because whatever you perceive is happening is what your reality is what you believe. And somebody else might look at the same expectation and experience and perceive it in a very different way. So you have to think about that too. Impact of expectations can influence your emotions, whether you're makes you happy, makes you sad, makes you stressed, makes you depressed. I mean, obviously, if you had a certain expectation and somebody didn't meet it, whether it's, a friend, family member, work, or even with yourself, I mean, that can really bring you down. It can impact your behavior, how you act in certain situations. I had a previous boyfriend that had an expectation of me, and I'm not going to say what it is just in case he would happen to come across this video. And he would just something so basic. And I can kind of understand why he would be upset about it, but the fact of the matter is it didn't really matter because it was something that he thought that I should tell the world about. And when I didn't do it, he had an adult tantrum. And, when I told other people about it and they were like, what is he, 8? It was kind of other people's perceptions of his behavior. Then there's expectations in relationship dynamics. Can cause conflict or harmony. Expectations can be self-fulfilling. If you have expectations that are too high, you can lead to self-sabotaging yourself or create what they call a self-fulfilling prophecy. I've dealt with this myself, having these expectations of how I need to be perfect. I used to have perfectionism as one of my problems from my trauma. Like, I have to do everything perfectly. Every time I start a new job, I seem to go through that phase again until I realize, well, there's really no such thing as perfection. I wish we would actually get rid of the word in the English language. But you don't want to have expectations that are so high that you're never going to meet them. And that takes us to managing expectations. It's very important to be aware of what your expectations are. And also how they're influencing the way you think about things and how it influences your behaviors. And that comes into play especially with other people. And when you are dealing with a loved one or a friend or whatever, if it's something that there are expectations about, you need to communicate them clearly. Like, I expect you to clean your room and have it done by 5 o'clock. Whatever it may be. That's like something I had to do with my child because he had ADHD. So I'd be very specific in what my expectation was of him. Or he would be like, if I didn't give him a time limit or direct command, he would just be like, I could just do it whenever. And then he would go off and down the rabbit hole of whatever he was hyper-focused on at the time. So, that's something you really got to think about. Communicating clearly what your expectations are for somebody else, and you might have to negotiate that. Because if they're not able to accomplish because your expectations are so high, or your expectations don't fit whatever it is the project is, or the thoughts or the behaviors or whatever, that all has to be talked about, and possibly there needs to be compromise there. So you have to focus on realistic expectations depending on if you're dealing with yourself or other people, because they are not you and you are not them. And everybody comes from different experiences and different backgrounds. I mean, you might ask somebody to clean the bathroom and they don't know how to do that. So, um, it's very important for you to think about all those type of things. Now, when it comes to your expectations and your self-care, please, 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 please be realistic about it. Don't set these lofty goals because, sometimes, like, New Year's resolutions is the big thing here. People have these pie in the sky ideas about exercising, being healthy, and like 2 weeks into it or even a month, they're done. They, can't keep up with it. Because you have to start small sometimes. If it's not something that you were doing previously, and then all of a sudden you have to quit something cold turkey, or all of a sudden start this really intense workout, unless you're like a really adrenaline junkie, it's not going to happen. So you have to start small, chunking it down, chunking a project down into smaller bites. So it's possibly you'd be able to actually fulfill what you do. Like if you want to be healthier and exercise, 5 days a week. How about you just start out with a day? Some people have to start out with like a minute. They're going to exercise for a minute. I know it sounds completely ridiculous, but it works for some people. And then the next week they do for a minute, then they add maybe another minute or 2 minutes to it, and they work themselves way up. So I want you to do that with your self-care. Just don't go gung-ho and then like, I can't do it. I got to do this, and you make all kinds of excuses. But if you start out with small goals to start out with, maybe you'll be able to change your habits and create ones that you feel are healthier for you. And I'm not going to say good or bad habits, because habits are habits. If you think they're positive or negative, that's okay, but don't really categorize it. Just say habit. I'm going to start this habit. And you never really break a habit. You create another one in its place. I remember, back in the day, everybody I got to break this habit. There was a big, massive, when cigarettes were causing cancer and everybody was the whole, world was up in an uproar about it. And people were like, I got to quit cold turkey. But they would never replace it with something else. Something that might be more positive to them. If they did replace it, it was usually with a habit that was like a same type of thing, like going from smoking cigarettes to eating more. Then they would gain weight. I remember my grandfather went through that. He was sucking hard candy all day long, and he put on quite a bit of weight. He sucked that much hard candy. It was incredible. He would come home with this bag, because back in the day everything was in these bins, these wooden bins, and you'd have this big scoop and you put it in a bag and you weigh it. So he had to quit doing that because he was getting so chunky. So start off small. And I would suggest writing things down and thinking about it, writing it down, thinking about how you can chunk it and work your way up and manage your expectations. Don't be so hard on yourself. There's no reason to be hard on yourself. And if you, skip a day when you should be doing something that was, on your calendar to do, and you just either didn't feel well or didn't do it, or don't berate yourself. Just go the next day and work it in. Or when you remember that, oh my God, I didn't meditate today, you can meditate at any time. Depending on how you feel when you meditate. If it really invigorates you, you probably don't want to be meditating at 9 o'clock at night. Just get up the next morning and meditate. It's not one day is not going to hurt you. It's not going to ruin your whole plan. Don't like freak out about it. Just like, okay, I missed it today. It happens. We get busy, we get tired, we get sick. Something happens with somebody, a friend or family member. It's just, life. Don't make it harder on yourself than it needs to be. Okay? Okay. So let's pull a card. And I'm drinking water because I did yard work today and I really sweated my booty off. I've been doing yard work all week because it's been raining every day down here in Florida because it's so humid. It's the rainy season. It's summertime. It's almost officially summer. Today is the solstice that I'm recording this. Tomorrow's my birthday. Oh no, tomorrow's not my birthday. Sunday's my birthday. Today's the 20th. I was born on the 22nd. I don't know why I'm like looking at the clock right now. But my birthday is coming up. I'm turning 29. No, I'm turning 54. And my neighbors are setting off fireworks for some reason. For the solstice, probably. Even though I don't think it's technically the solstice of 10:47 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's the longest day of the year, the summer solstice. Beginning of summer. There's a lot of different religious and spiritual paths that do rituals on the solstice. I didn't really think about it too much to do anything. Sometimes there's certain foods that are prepared. I've just taken a couple days off because yesterday we had off for Juneteenth. And I figured I'd take today and Monday off because my birthday's on Sunday and I needed a break from work because I tend to work. I'm a workaholic, and so I had to kind of say, you need a break. Take it. You got 2 weeks. So I got a card here, affirmation card. Amplifying abundance is what we got. Amplifying abundance. And abundance can mean not just money, but you're living an abundant life. Can mean lots of different things. And the back says, abundance is my birthright and I receive it now. Abundance is my birthright and I receive it now. And it's interesting that this card came up because I've been working on my abundance and my blocks with money. Because growing up, we were poor and I'd hear my grandparents saying, well, we can't afford that, and they talk about rich people sometimes. Never really as negative as some people. Like, if you become rich, you're not a good person type of deal. It was never like in that vein, but it was close. I can't remember exactly what they used to say. So here's what the book says for this card. When you are abundant, you feel confident that life will always meet your needs, whether things go according to plan or not. Abundance is not a matter of having more than enough, but of seeing from the soul's perspective that only your ideas and beliefs can ever limit your experience. Abundance is a readiness to be supported by the universe in exchange for letting your light shine at full capacity. This mantra is ideal for unraveling beliefs of lack and scarcity, overcoming fear, and increasing confidence. Increasing confidence. I think people that don't have a lot of confidence have a lot of expectations, more so from themselves. But then a lot of people, especially if you had trauma, tend to project that onto other people. I did in my romantic relationships. And kind of thinking like, well, why don't they do it this way? Or I never really thought, excuse me, sorry. I never really thought about what other people's experiences were as far as growing up. And I think because I thought everybody had the same experience I did. And that is just not true. Not everybody had a mentally ill mother that wasn't on her meds and really had a lot of bad episodes where sometimes I would get hit, kicked, or sometimes it was just a whole lot of she's screaming at whatever she was seeing in her mind. So yeah, amplifying abundance. And I know a lot of people are struggling right now with money. I hear it at work. I hear it with my friends. But we're all in this together. We all got to overcome the fear that things may happen and not go so well. I mean, for a while there, I was worried about ending up living in my car. And that would be bad right now because my AC is not working. So that would not be cool. And my poor cat would probably have a heat stroke. I'm surprised he's not here. He's usually here to greet you all when I'm doing this. So let's do our guided meditation. So get comfortable. And I know my lighting is terrible because I have my overhead light on because it's almost 9 o'clock at night that I'm doing this. But I felt the need to do a recording tonight on expectations. It was I was watching something and I kind of got the nagging feeling like I should go record a video. And it's the solstice. I wrote down some topics on a post-it when I was at work. I was like doing work and all of a sudden I had these things going through my head and I'm like, I gotta write it down because I'm really forgetful these days. So hopefully you're comfortable. Both feet flat on the floor if you're sitting in a chair. Back up against the back of the chair you're in. And we're going to do a clearing. Since it's the solstice, I'm going to walk through getting the lower vibrational energies out of your space. So you can close your eyes or, take your gaze down low if you have issues with closing your eyes. But I want you to imagine a white sheet covering the entire floor of the room that you're in. Now the sheet is going to take all the lower frequencies or negative energies out of the room as we lift it up. So set the intention that this sheet is going to take everything away that no longer serves you. The low frequency vibrations of anything that might have settled in your room, especially if you're in a room that you had a fight with somebody in, or you read something on your phone and you had a negative experience. So set that intention that this is what's happening with this white sheet. We're going to lift the white sheet up from the floor, and it's going to take away all the bad stuff and leave only a cleared space. And we're going to continue to lift it up past your ankles, up past your knees, up past your hips, up past your shoulders, up past your top of your head, we're going to keep raising it up into the sky, where we have helpers that are going to take the sheet and transmute the energy. And just sense how the room feels now. If it feels lighter, great. If you don't feel a difference, I'm not going to say that's good or bad. Maybe the room was already cleared. Maybe you keep the room cleared. Maybe you have, I usually put selenite wands once I clear a room in the corners of rooms to keep it protected. If you feel there's still more there, you can repeat it until you feel lighter, till you feel a shift in your body. Just feel how the room feels in your body. Your body is great at sensing all kinds of things if you pay attention. If you go within. So let's go on a little adventure today. Imagine yourself in a grassy field. You could be standing or sitting. And reach out and touch the grass. How does it feel? Is it soft like prairie grass? Is it some of those fancy grasses, like zebra grass? I think is really cool. How does it feel in your hand? Do you smell anything? Are there flowers among the wildflowers among the grass? Just gaze out in this big grassy field and see what you see. Maybe you see butterflies flitting around. Maybe you see dragonflies. Maybe there's birds. Maybe there's hummingbirds. Maybe it's dusk and lightning bugs are out. There's no right or wrong here, whatever you see in your mind's eye. And just take it in. What colors are the birds, or the dragonflies come in different colors too. Same with hummingbirds. They're not all ruby-throated ones. And just watch the patterns of how they're flying. Or if it's just flowers in the field, what color are the flowers? Do you know what kind of flowers they are? Are they Wildflowers tend to be smaller in size as far as petals and stuff go. And if you see some wildflowers, go over and see if they have a smell. Just enjoy what you see. Take in some deep breaths and let your shoulders relax. Mine are tense. What time of the day is it in the field that you're in? Notice the position of the sun or the moon in the sky. Is it a clear sky, or do you have some cumulus clouds? Those big white cottony kind of clouds? Or do you have the cirrus clouds as the light wispy ones that are just like a big blanket in the sky? Now let's take a walk through the field. And you notice sort of woods or a forest off to your right, and you see a trail, a walking trail. So let's head down that walking trail. And as you walk down the trail, just notice what kind of trees there are. You don't have to know what they are, doesn't matter. What kind of flora there is in the forest. If you hear any birds, if you see any birds, you see any other kind of wildlife. And just keep walking down the trail and just enjoying the cool breeze that's now going through the forest. Feel how the breeze feels on your face. And up ahead you see a clearing. I wonder what's at the clearing. Let's go find out. And do you hear the wind whistling through the branches, the leaves of the trees as you're heading to the clearing? And as you're getting closer, it sounds like water. You hear water flowing. Take a couple deep breaths in and let them blow out or sigh. If you let them sigh. Do a couple of those. So you're at the clearing and you hear the water and you see a pool of water in front of you and you see bubbles and you see water moving, and you look to your left and there's a beautiful, beautiful waterfall. And you're watching the water fall and hitting the water below, and if there's rocks, hitting the rocks and splashing. And notice the mist of the water from the waterfall, and the sun hits it just right that you see a rainbow in the mist. And what's that? They're fish jumping up in the water, saying hello. And you take a seat by the waterfall, safe distance from the waterfall. And you close your eyes and you just take in all the sounds of the water coming down and hitting the rocks and bubbling along. And you hear hear birds behind you chasing each other, having a really good time, chirping, and they're not bothered by you at all, and you're not bothered by them. That whole sense of calm comes over you from the waterfall and nature. And think about how grateful you are for this moment in time where you can relax and be in nature. Allow Mother Nature to give you a big hug and nurture you and fill you up with happiness and joy as you continue to relax and just focus on what is in front of you and what you hear around you. What Mother Nature has created here at the spot that you're sitting in. Just take it all in. Allow the sound of the water to wash over you and clear out any stress. Let it clear out your anxiety. Let it clear your brain of thinking, especially the negative stuff that's probably going around in a loop in your head. Just let it all go. It's nothing to worry about. You need to focus on what you're doing presently. That stuff will be there later. This is your time to relax and take in Mother Nature and its creatures that are around you and filling you up with all this unconditional love energy. It's flowing all around you. Can you feel it? Let go of any expectations. Just let it all go. Feel into your body. Let the unconditional love in and fill you up. Feel the light inside of you growing. Let it encapsulate you. Allow yourself to feel the unconditional love and joy and happiness, or whatever you may be feeling. Allow it to break open your heart and know that you are loved. Know that creation, the universe, source, God does not make mistakes. That you are loved with no conditions. So there's no reason to have fears and doubts and harsh expectations. You are one with the earth. You are one with everybody tuning into this meditation. Let's take a couple deep breaths. I hope you can feel the love and light that surrounds you, that's part of you, that's always a part of you. If you choose to let it in and take the time to recognize that it is there all the time for you to access when you need it. You are safe, you're protected, you are loved. And when you are ready, you can open your eyes and come back to the present, here with me. I hope you enjoyed that guided meditation. I just love waterfalls, and I love um, tuning into nature, as I was trying to guide you to do, because there's no expectations in the forest. There's no expectation with a waterfall or the pool that it falls into. It's just you and the love that it shares when you allow it to flow through you. I'm Crystal from the Crystal Center of Healing, and I hope you have a great week. Like and subscribe. If you wish to donate to my channel, I do have a PayPal account, the Crystal Center of Healing, to help me continue on. Like I said, have a great week. Any questions or comments, you know what to do, and I will see you next time.